Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow is a day that's been set aside for the celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is a figure that represented to America, not just the African American people for who he is totally connected, but for all people in general. What it basically said is that we as Americans, and we do believe that most Americans were taught this, that there was a superpower that we could not see, an invisible power we call God, and that God was the author of all creation. Everything that we could identify with the senses that we had been given were of God, and for sure, much more of that we cannot identify, such as the Spirit of God and the Spirit itself. That there were certain things that represented that powerful creator. The earth, the things that were of the earth that we could obviously see, like valleys and hills and mountains and trees and grass and flowers and rivers, that these things were also of God. And then the insects, the fish, the fowl of the air, the wild animals in the jungle or wherever they might be found, the snakes and worms and bugs and all of that of God. And we human beings, all of that of God, living durations of time, a period of time to be born, a period of time to grow, mature, a period of time to pass along. All things. And all of it governed by the power that made it. And though there were wars and a bunch of stuff that we were taught that was not representative of God, like lying and cheating and stealing and killing and hating and all of the other things, the poverty, the crime and the violence, the hatred, the racism, the bigotry, all of those things came from an anti-God, not the God of life, but the God of death. And so Dr. King, in his presentation of life, gave us the picture more of the living life, standing for what was right, and giving his life for what was right, just as the picture of the story of Jesus Christ, giving his life for what was right, not to save us, except let us know how you got to get out of this hell. A lot of people will never say that. They'll tell you that he was just dying so that all of the sin that you have done can be forgiven. And he'll come back and get you one day, rather than seeing it for what it is. As good as he was represented to have been, he was still dying. Why? Because he wanted us to know that is the way out of this hell. Everybody living in this hell participates in this hell one way or another. You say you don't tell a big lie, but there's a lie that you will tell. You don't do the big hating, but there's some hating that you will. And though you might decide that you don't want to engage in any of that, you sit back and don't do anything to end it. So we're all in this hell because we are due to be in this hell. And Dr. King, a small figure of a man, but was big enough of a man to stand and represent what true love represented. And it wasn't that he was trying to get killed. It was that evilness was searching for anybody like that to kill. And it is searching today for anybody like that to kill. And so we'll celebrate Dr. King's birthday tomorrow, talking about how wonderful he is, while today we're sitting up in church listening to stories that we've been hearing over and over and over and over again. Keep going to the church being suckered. Why? Because we haven't learned anything. That's what happens when you go to school and you don't learn anything. You just keep going back and repeating and repeating and repeating and getting dumber and dumber and dumber, because each time it means even less to you. Why? Because it is not practice. And practice means that you will be, things will change or you will be killed. Things will change or you will be killed. And this story about Jesus coming back to save you, coming back to get you, what does it say about Jesus? If he couldn't get you the first time, what makes you think they can get you the second time? That sounds like a game being played to me. I would see, as I as I have seen in my lifetime, Dr. King showed us something for us to follow. We didn't follow it. The message of Jesus, for those of you who don't believe in him, was a sign for us to follow. It was a road map, but we don't follow that. Why? Because we are so blind. And so tomorrow we'll celebrate Dr. King because he could see, and we still refuse to see, but we want to acknowledge that he was the right one. And yet we still won't follow that path. Listen, today, while we're celebrating, get prepared to celebrate Dr. King and what Dr. King represented, most of this nation represents what Elijah Muhammad used to call the ones who represented the evil, the one who represented the lying, the one who represented the cheating, the one who represented the stealing, the one who represented the abuse, the one who caused poverty, the one who made it possible for crime and violence to exist, the one who did mostly anything for making money because the God, the invisible God, is not recognized by them. These people do not recognize God, the invisible God. They recognize, as we can see today, one who is able to utilize and cause the power of evil to exist. Right today, everything that we just got through talking about, everything that we will be celebrating Dr. King for tomorrow, we got a man in this country who represents the highest order of deception, the highest order of lying in the world. Well, let me leave the world off for today. America is gravitating toward that as deep as it can possibly be. And the only thing the opposition is offering is, well, we are doing more good than that. We don't want to go that low. So you don't have to go that low. Why not go as high as you can go? Or is this as high as you can go? And if it is, then why aren't there more Martin Luther Kings? Why aren't there more people standing up for what is right? What is right? That basic human rights are experienced by every human being on the face of the earth. It has been prepared for by the powers that be, that no one would suffer a lack of anything that is required. Food, clothing, shelter, education, transportation, health care. Any of these things that's done by the hands of man was made for the benefit of mankind, not for the profit of a few, so they can hold themselves up as being superior to others. All of that is because of deception. All of that is because of a lying devil that has captured a certain group of American people, and they can't turn it loose. They can't turn it loose. They can smile in your face, and they can say all of the things that they think that you might want to hear. But in the bottom line, when they are haters, when they're racist, when they're bigots, when they will cause poverty and seek no reasons or no means to eradicate this evilness except force, jails, murder. Ladies and gentlemen, don't you see this is hell? You don't have to have that fire burning on you yet. I understand it's coming in a lot of places. You don't have to have that tsunami hitting you yet. I understand it's hitting in a lot of places. But look, you should be able to open your eyes and see. And if you could see, you would think you would do something. You would avoid the catastrophes. You would prepare. You made the nuclear bomb to do what? You said energy, but you really wanted to be the master and control the world. You call it AI. You say you're doing it because you can put people out of work and get his service free. I don't know how people are going to buy anything, but I guess you got a plan for that. Yeah, the plan is make money and a killing machine. Well, why? Because that's the way man thinks. Man is not thinking about God, and you have not been taught about God, and you are not being taught the truth about God. You are using God to profit up the thinking, the ignorance of mankind. And God ain't for that. So we will celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King, who understood what love is, who understood what God is about. How many of us will be joining that wagon? Think about it.